Hello, and welcome back to Calligraphy Biz Corner. I am really excited about today's episode because the topic that we have for you is actually one of my favorite aspects of being a business owner, but it's something that I don't think is talked about a ton, and that is investing in education as a business owner.
I'm honestly so excited to talk about this with you in particular because I feel like you're really good at being intentional with investing in your business, investing in yourself. And it's something that I have done a little bit of, but I want to get better at planning ahead for. This was actually the first year that I sat down at the beginning of the year and I researched like a bunch of conferences based on like what I was interested in learning to see what I could find out there that was aligned and a good fit and actually start to think about like how much those things were going to cost and bake that into my budget.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit more at the end. But over the years, we both have now had experience investing in all different types of education for our businesses, whether that was digital downloads and courses or one on one coaching. So, we really wanted to talk about this today because we've both recently decided to invest in more education this fall. I feel like your attending of the next level retreat is kind of what like kicked all of this off for us, this conversation. And like I said, we realize that it's something that people don't discuss super often. So today, we are going to have an open and honest conversation about how to invest in your business education strategically. So that way, when you are ready to make that jump, you can do it with confidence.
So, in this episode, we have four kind of sections that we're going to be talking through. The first one is the importance of investing in education. We're going to talk about how to decide what to invest in because you could literally put your money anywhere. We're going to talk about how to be intentional once you've made an investment so that you can make the most of it. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about what we're investing in.
Yeah. So before we jump in, we want to give a shout out to our most recent Buy Me a Coffee supporter, Danielle of Handwritten Hudson. She said, "Thank you both for always being in my corner on this entrepreneurial journey. We are so thrilled that we get to help you on your journey, Danielle. And thank you so much for supporting the show by buying us a coffee. If you're listening and you're enjoying the show and the educational resources that we put out there, then feel free to head to the support the show link in the show notes and you can buy us a coffee right from there. And we would love to shout you out on our next episode."
So your buy us a coffee is not only helping us to like fuel the pod through coffee, it's also supporting us in getting this show online through the software that we need to produce it and our website and things like that. And we're also putting some aside for future projects that we're really excited about and still dreaming up for next year. So we really, really appreciate when you use that buy us a coffee link. So let's jump into today's episode, and we're going to start by discussing why investing in education as a business owner is so important.
So, like many of you, I have consumed a ton of free content over the years, but I've also spent money on courses and coaching. And from my experience, it's just like bringing money into the exchange changes everything for me. There's just something about paying for a resource that totally alters the way that you actually approach it. I feel like it's like putting your money where your mouth is, right? Like you are more likely to show up, to do the work, to stay committed because now you've actually got some skin in the game. So I always say, and I believe that when you pay attention. You're investing your time and your energy because you want to make sure that you actually see a return on that investment, right? It's like I like to think of my my gym membership as an example. Like the studio that I am a member at is definitely not, cheap necessarily, but that also motivates me to actually go because I want to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth out of attending the gym, right? When I had a more like budget friendly membership that, was like 30 or $50 a month or whatever, I hardly went and like those charges would just go on my credit card every month and I'd be like, I'm not even using this. So I like to kind of think of education the same way. And, there's so much free content out there that is super valuable. I mean, like when I first started my business, I was just binging podcasts and free webinars and all of that. But again, in my personal experience, the quality of what sits behind a paywall is truly next level because those paid resources often give you more insights, more support, more structured guidance, and that is really what can propel your business forward.
So just kind of continuing Elaine's point here, as someone who I've been attending a million free webinars, I also think that you can get only so far with those free resources and free YouTube videos, because often those webinars will tell you what to do, but they don't tell you the how. They don't give you like the step by step that you really need to know what actions to take after you know the what to do, if that makes sense. So I feel like I always pick up some good tips in those, and I do like pick and choose attending those free webinars, but I'm mostly attending them to see if I want to invest in that program or in that educator, because I think that's a really good way to see if you like their teaching style, kind of see what how their brain works, like how they think about a problem, how they frame it, how they teach it to you. So I think those webinars are really valuable in that sense, and I can always glean some tips from them. But, if you do get to where you want to go by cobbling together a bunch of free resources, it's going to take you a ton of time, because it's really going to take time to find the like good quote unquote resources in the sea of everything that is out there. And it's also going to take you a lot of energy to DIY the things, like figure out the how component, right? Now that you have the what. And most of the time when you're looking through free resources, what you're missing is kind of the organized plan. You're missing the like what order to do the things and what order to take the steps. And you're getting the bits and pieces, like you're learning how to do one step here, how to build one skill here, but you're not really able to put it all together into like a roadmap. And honestly, that's why I created my pro wedding calligrapher course. I saw that the biggest challenge that calligraphers were facing is with starting their business was just figuring out the order in which to do things. And they got really overwhelmed by trying to do everything at once. So my course really seeks to give you that guidance and that sequence and the bite-sized steps to do things in, so that you can really like put your energy and focus into one thing at a time. And we talk a lot about this, like ultimately you have a finite number of resources, whether that's your time, your energy, and money. So really think about where you're investing each of those resources and really evaluate the trade-offs, because determining where you invest can with your money can save you precious time and energy that you would maybe spend doing a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, exactly. I love the way that you phrase that, where it's like the free resources kind of give you the what, but the paid are what give you the roadmap of the how. And that in turn ends up saving you so much time. And at the very end of this episode, we're going to give our little like our thoughts on, depending on where you are in your business, what we think you should invest in. But as you are getting farther along in your business, like time is becomes one of your most valuable resources over money, because you can always figure out ways to make more money, but you're not ever going to get your time back. So like you said, if it's going to take you 2 years to, like you kind of said, cobble together all of the steps and all of the pieces to build your dream calligraphy business, but you can sign up for a course and learn how to do it maybe in 3 months or 6 months, like now you're a year and a half or maybe, 18 months ahead of the game
Mhm.
already.
Totally.
So, in addition to that, I also think that investing in education helps you shift your mindset from being, quote unquote, just a calligrapher to being an actual business owner that is equipped with the skills to thrive. Because the reality is that you can't just be a really good calligrapher if you do want your business to succeed. You need to have the business skills that go along with it if you really want to flourish. And those would be things like marketing, sales, customer relations, things that might not necessarily come super naturally to you, but that you can learn. This mindset shift also makes you really start to think like an entrepreneur, not just a calligrapher, because once you find yourself making an educational investment in your business, you're then figuring out like, okay, this course is going to cost me $2,000. So, how can I make that money back so that I can actually make this investment? I feel like that added pressure of figuring out how to make it work can actually push you to take action on new ideas, new services, or maybe different marketing strategies. I feel like it kind of lights a little bit of a fire under your butt and gives you some added courage to maybe put yourself in situations that like you didn't feel fully comfortable in or fully ready to dive into yet, but Now you're like, I want to make this investment. I need to come up with this money. I'm going to go out and figure out how to do it because I know this is the right next step. I also believe that the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that we know how to go out and make money. Like, that's not necessarily the hard part. So I think sometimes it just takes a little extra motivation.
Yeah, and the $2,000, by the way, is just an example. Like, there are definitely things you
Oh,
can
yeah.
learn from and investments you can make that are less than that too. But yes, I love this one. I think as entrepreneurs, it really is easy for us to spend all our time working in our business instead of working on our business. So in other words, like doing a lot of client work and just being focused on that. So I'll give you an example. A lot of the calligraphers that I work with haven't actually thought about their income plan, meaning as a business owner, how am I going to hit my revenue goals? And what lines of income or like different services am I going to provide that will help me reach that specific income goal? That's an example of working on your business. It's like big picture planning. What different services am I going to offer and how many clients do I need to book in those services in order to reach my income goal? A lot of people don't do that step. That's also one thing I cover in my pro wedding calligrapher course as well. But I just want to remind you that like you as a business owner, you are your biggest asset. So you need to invest in your own growth and your learning too, so that you can do those like big picture planning, big picture thinking, like acting like the CEO moments, right? Because your business needs that from you. And in turn, you're the one who's going to help your business to grow.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And that's where it's like, it's not enough to just be a really good calligrapher. Like, you need to have all of these other skills and ways to operate. I also think that investing in yourself actually helps you relate to your clients better because when you've been in the position of making an investment, then you also understand firsthand what that exchange of money feels like the amount of trust that it requires, the expectation that it sets between you and your client. So I think it is important for you to, like I said, know what it feels like to put money out and get something back in the same exact way that you are asking your clients to put money out and then they will get something back. And I do believe that this does become even more crucial as your own prices increase. Like, for example, if you are charging premium rates for wedding calligraphy services, but you haven't made a similar high ticket investment yourself, it can be hard to really understand the client's perspective of being asked to invest that much money with you. So I feel like having that experience of exchanging money in return for something not only builds empathy, but it also just sharpens your own processes because then you can also reflect on what worked well or what fell short in your own investments. And then you can use those insights to elevate your own client experience.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I was just at a very fancy hotel this past weekend that charges a lot of money per night. And it actually was like a really great example, like you said, of like, what do I expect out of this level of investment? And there were a lot of like detailed touches, and just the level of service was beyond most of the places I've stayed. Right. And so I like that example of just making sure that you know what it's like to be on the other end of making that investment. So one other reason I would highlight, and I think this is a really important one around why you should invest in education, is that it can provide you with a community, which can be the most valuable part of all. So, like being around people who are either in a similar place that you are in, so either facing similar challenges, tackling similar problems, celebrating similar things, or even better, if they're a couple steps ahead of you and they can kind of guide you to what they've done and what's worked for them in the past, that's incredibly powerful. And those relationships can lead to collaborations, working together, hiring each other for gigs, not only just learning from each other. So, when you have a community in a program that you're investing in, you're not only getting to learn from the teacher or whoever's leading the program, you're also learning from all the other students around you. And I think a lot of times when the program is over, a lot of those personal friendships and relationships will persist.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk more about the idea of paying for proximity, as we kind of like to call it, in a little bit, but it can really be a game changer. And it doesn't even have to necessarily be in like group programs or conferences or community settings. Like, it's even just, it can happen in one-on-one too. Like I just experienced this firsthand with my own business coach. Like we had just such a beautiful full circle moment at the start of October. We've worked together on and off for a little over 2 years now. And as my business has evolved, like our relationship has also developed and evolved, and it's kind of shifted from just coach and client to a little bit more of like a peer connection, kind of like you were saying, those relationships continue to develop. And then she recently invited me to speak at her money summit at the beginning of October, which was such an incredible opportunity. And in all honesty, it's one that I wouldn't have even had if I hadn't invested in her as my coach just a few years ago. So it just really goes to show you that like you never know what doors are going to open with the investments that you're making. And it might not be in, 3 months afterwards or 6 months afterwards. It could be 2 years, 5 years later, but like those connections can end up being some of the most powerful, I feel like, proponents of your business.
Yeah, I love that. Just to add on to that, a lot of you know Sheena of Cricut Calligraphy. So early on, like right before I started my business, I took one of her courses, Modern Calligraphy 201. And then as my business evolved and I kind of shared my story with her, she ended up highlighting me on some of her, I think, stories. Maybe we did like an Instagram live and like podcasts. And she really propelled my business to the next phase, which was mentoring other calligraphers. Cause I think I talked about doing that on one of those like features she had for me. And that really helped that part of my business. And then a couple years later, as I was working on building some of the infrastructure behind my course in the back end, I then hired her to be a coach for me to help me with that because she had done that for her own course business. So, yeah, it is just really cool to see how these like relationships evolve and they become even more valuable than what you invested in the first place. Okay, so let's talk about how to decide what to invest in. So now that we know that it is important to invest in your business and yourself, let's talk about how to make those investment decisions. And there's literally an infinite number of places that we could spend our money. So the way that I like to think about making that education investment decision is asking myself first, what problem do I need to solve in my business? Like, is there a problem I'm trying to solve for myself? And really try to focus on the problem here and not jump to solutions or like symptoms of the problem. So let's say, for example, I want more leads in my business. Instead of jumping to conclusions like, oh, I need to redo my website, for example, instead of jumping straight to that conclusion, I want you to really look at the data and understand, is it the website that's the problem? So in other words, like how many leads do you get through your website today? Maybe you actually get plenty of leads. Maybe you don't really like how your website looks, but your website's actually getting you plenty of leads, right? So really dive into your problem that you're trying to solve and then ask yourself, what are some ways that I can solve this problem based on the data that you see in your business? Brainstorm some ideas and then pick one solution to start with. So let's go with this example. I need more leads. What is one way that I can do that? So maybe your website isn't getting as many leads as you want. You could work on improving your website's search engine optimization or SEO. So let's say that's the solution that we pick. We need to improve our SEO. Is this a solution that I can learn myself? So, for example, can I learn how SEO works? How complicated is it? How tech savvy am I? How much knowledge do I already have in this area? Asking yourself those questions can help you decide, is it something that I can do and I can learn myself? If it is something that I can learn myself, then from an education standpoint, I can start with some YouTube videos. But if I really want to become an expert at it, then I probably want to invest in an SEO course or some kind of SEO program. If I don't think that I can become an expert at it myself or that it's not worth my time to become an expert, then I can also hire somebody else who can either guide me through it or do it for me. And so this is typically going to be a higher investment than purchasing a course, for example. But this kind of decision tree is how I would go about thinking about where to invest in education for my business or what things do I want to invest in myself to learn versus what things do I want somebody else to help me with.
Yeah, this is such a great tip. And I'm kind of thinking of the calligraphers that I mentor because they often come to me. Their problems are they feel overwhelmed, they're disorganized, they're frustrated that they're spending more time on administrative tasks than on the creative work that they love. And so the solution that I am presenting that to them through education is helping them build more streamlined client workflows and the supporting systems to run those workflows. And I like to work with them one-on-one in doing that, because then they also have the knowledge to continue to grow and build their own business with ease, rather than, like you said kind of before, of like spending all of this time trying to watch YouTube videos and figure out how to build a client workflow as a calligrapher, all of that. And so when they're feeling stuck too, I feel like a one-on-one or some sort of a group program works really well, because it offers that tailored support, the guidance, and the accountability to help them get back on track and really growing again.
Right. Yeah. I feel like when your problems are not skill gaps or you don't know where to start with solving your problem. So, like, if you are feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stuck on something in your business, then I think that's where, like you said, the one on one format for a coach or mentor, someone who can guide you through that specific situation, really like talk through that with you. I think that's a really great format. Courses are really great for teaching specific skills or teaching step-by-step processes. And then I think the group coaching mentoring element is great for your more bigger picture and like more complex business challenges.
In addition to thinking about what problem you need to solve, you kind of touched on this before going through like the decision tree, but I would also recommend assessing your current situation and how much time you have available. So, thinking about what makes sense for you in your current season of life and business. Some of the questions that you can ask yourself as you are going through all of this is thinking, do I need the accountability of a coach or a mentor? Do I need tailored or customized support and or feedback? Do I have the discipline to watch and implement something that's self-paced? Will I have the ability to rewatch lessons or live calls if I can't, attend them or watch them while I'm going through the program? So like you said before, courses are really great for learning specific skills. They're usually self-paced and they are usually a lower investment. Group coaching or one-on-one coaching, on the other hand, that is usually more focused on complex business or personal development. It often comes with more accountability. They typically include live calls, things like that, maybe even like customized support feedback. And then because of that structure, group coaching and one-on-one coaching is usually a higher investment than a course. So in addition to kind of assessing like the time commitment that you're able to make, you can also keep in mind like what financial commitment can you make right now as well, and kind of let that help dictate. Although we're going to talk a little bit at the very end just about like budgeting and making those decisions. But anyways, if you are in a season where a self-paced course fits your schedule better, that way you can watch and implement on your own time, then maybe a course is the better option for you. And if you are in a busy season, maybe you can't commit to live calls at the moment, it might be best to table that group program for now. On the flip side, if you are like me and you thrive with accountability and personalized feedback, then group or one-on-one coaching is probably going to be a better fit for you than a course. So like I said, I really need accountability. I have spent so much money on courses that just like sit in a course graveyard. So I know that I personally get the best results for both myself and my business when I am investing in customized coaching support.
Yeah. So, on that note, since you've had experience working with and investing in coaches, can you tell us a little bit about what to look for in a coach or mentor when you're trying to figure out if they're a good fit?
Yeah, definitely. We won't dive like too deep here because we want to keep the focus more on, different types of educational investments. But I have worked with two coaches myself, and I am also now a mentor. So these are my top 3 tips for finding the right coach or mentor, especially if it is your first time working with one, because there are so many options out there and it usually is a big investment. So I definitely want you to feel armed and confident in the decision that you're making. So the first thing that I would look at is, are they where you want to be? So look for somebody who is currently in the position or doing something that you aspire to be doing. If they're already on that path that you want to be following, they are going to be so much more equipped to guide you along the way. So take a look at where they are and what they're doing. The second one might sound obvious, but like, do you actually like them? It's really important to make sure that you like the coach or the mentor that you are thinking of investing in because you want to feel comfortable with them. You are going to be opening up to them. You're probably going to be getting a little bit vulnerable with them. You might be talking about like finances or maybe mindset blocks and things like that that you have going on in your current situation. So, in my experience, my business coach has sometimes felt a little bit like a therapist because we can get really deep in some of our sessions. So, if you are feeling bad vibes or you just don't feel fully comfortable, then it's probably not the best fit. So, make sure that you actually like them and you can see yourself, working with them for an extended period of time. And then my third tip would be, start to really get involved with whether it's their social media presence, podcasts that they're showing up in, webinars, things like that, and really look and see if they are walking the walk. In the online space, people can be saying absolutely anything. So you really want to make sure that the person that you are considering isn't just talking the talk. Try to look for proof that they're actually implementing and living and practicing what they teach and they preach, or that they have had experience doing that in the past, because you just want that proof that like they are embodying everything that they are bringing to the table and sharing with you.
Yeah, I think that's a really great place to start when you're looking for someone. I like the "Do you actually like them?" one. I mean, and that's why I was kinda saying, like, this is a great chance to watch whatever free resource they are putting out, whether that's, like, a live training, an online webinar, whatever it is, because you are gonna be able to get a better sense for that person and how they teach and how they actually show up to you when you're one-on-one on Zoom versus, like, just listening to them on a podcast or a webinar.
Exactly. And that's why I feel too like if you are considering somebody and they offer the ability to hop on some sort of a discovery call or something, do it. Like that's going to be the best way for you to connect with them one on one and figure out like, do I actually like this person or not? Am I jiving with them? Like when I hired my business coach, I got off of that call and I was like, oh my God, I love her. And I want her in my like pocket and on my computer and in my head for the next 6 months. Like you just immediately get that vibe. So I feel like take advantage of whatever it is that people are putting out there so that you can better familiarize yourself with them and see if it is a good fit.
Yeah, totally. So the next section we're going to talk about here is like, how do you show up for your investment so that you can make the most of it?
Yeah. So no matter what you invest in, there is always going to be some level of risk, right? Like you're putting money out. There's absolutely no guarantee that you are going to get that back. So I believe that you have to decide that the investment is going to work for you. And the key here is to show up and put in the work and just make the most out of it. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning of episode 14 when we were recapping your business retreat. But before you even begin, make sure that you are setting clear intentions for what you want to gain out of that investment. So, ask yourself, what is going to make this a win for me? Even if the course or the coaching doesn't meet all of your expectations, you should still be walking away with something valuable from that experience. So, whether it's a new skill or an insight on how you want to do things differently in your own business, like you are still learning something.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with this. I think like education is absolutely a two-way street. You have somebody who's teaching you, guiding you, coaching you, but you also have to be able to put in the work and you have to show up. And that not only means doing the work that's like part of your program or part of your curriculum, but also pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone, right? Like this is how we know that we're growing literally is when we are outside of our comfort zone because we're pushing through whatever plateau it is that we may be experiencing, whatever challenge or problem we went into this investment with. So maybe it's doing something like posting your question in the community Facebook group, even though there's hundreds of people that are in it. Maybe it's being in the hot seat and being coached in front of the other people that are in your group coaching program. Again, you get what you put into it, so you need to be comfortable asking for what you need.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this is also where it ties into the very beginning of where I kind of had that point of like, when you pay attention and you show up differently. Like, we're about to talk about what we are currently investing in, but I am a part of a group coaching program right now. And it was definitely a bigger investment. And I'm doing these things that you're saying, right? Like, even though it feels a little bit uncomfortable or scary, like I'm posting what I'm working on for feedback in the group because like I am not going to let that money be wasted. Like I am making sure that I'm going to get a return on my investment in one way or another, even if that means that I'm a little slightly uncomfortable sometimes.
Totally. So let's actually talk about what we are investing in and also share just a couple little other random tips that we have in education as we've been doing it ourselves.
Yeah. So, right now, for me and where I am currently at in my business and just my life, I guess, is my most valuable resource is 100% my time right now. So, I have been investing in educational offerings that give me time back. And that's not necessarily time back on my calendar, right? But it's that time in like the long run. So, over the past 2 years, this has primarily taken the form of one on one coaching, which has really helped me reach my goals more quickly. And like I said before, I thrive off of accountability. So I know that in order for me to show up, to take action, to put myself in uncomfortable situations that are going to make me grow, I really need somebody who is there pushing me, encouraging me to do it. Being able to have somebody who's already been in my shoes and guide me along the way really accelerates my progress significantly. And at the end of the day, that is giving me time back, right? So I just recently joined a 6-month group coaching program. And this is the first time that I've been a part of a group coaching program. I've only done courses and one on one in the past. But what I'm really loving about this is that it has structured curriculum, which I can engage with at my own pace. But then there also is the combined community aspect that's offered through chat channels and live calls. So this setup is really helping me and allowing me to expand my knowledge, connect with other entrepreneurs in the online business space, be able to get their feedback and their input, and then also receive that accountability and guidance from our coach, which we know I so desperately need. So I have absolutely loved mentoring calligraphers one on one, but I myself have aspirations to develop a group program because I do believe in the transformative power of community for both mindset and business growth. Also, literally all of my mentees have expressed interest in some sort of group community, and I definitely take their feedback to heart. So, with that focus in mind, this is kind of bringing me to like my why did I decide to invest in this program, right? So I decided to join this group program specifically because number one, I really wanted to experience how a group program is run. I wanted to feel what it's like to be a part of one. And I just believe that if I want to create that kind of an experience for others, then I need to experience it for myself as well. And then I also wanted to learn the ins and outs of creating, like actually creating and developing a group program. So everything from offer topic to curriculum development to messaging, sales strategies, tech stuff like where to host, etc. Again, I could probably eventually figure all of this out on my own, but rather than go through all of the trial and error, I'd rather avoid that. And I want to just learn from somebody who's been there, done that, so that I can confidently launch this new program in like maybe 3 months instead of just an indefinite timeline. So my priority here is not to waste time and to just do what I can to just push myself further along. And the other thing that I want to touch on one more time, just because it is so relevant and important to where I currently am, is that when you are thinking about what you need right now, it might not just be about solving a problem or learning a new skill. It might actually be about being in a room with people that you admire and learning from others who are a few steps ahead of you, because that kind of access is truly invaluable. Like I said before, there's just something so powerful about getting in rooms, even when you are paying for it. And actually, I would argue, especially when you're paying for it, because you know that everybody else that's in that room is serious about their growth. They're showing up with intention. They've got skin in the game, just like you. So I feel like it's actually an even better community.
Yeah, I think that point about, like, not necessarily being about a problem you're solving or a skill, I think the idea behind this is, like, the people who are a couple steps ahead of you, you might not know what you don't know right now, and those are the people who can kind of, like, highlight those things for you, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it also helps just expand your mind as to what's possible, right? Like when you're seeing what other people are doing and where they've gotten in their businesses, whether it's calligraphy businesses or something totally different, you see like how possible it is to create a business that you truly love that can support your life. Like it's just, I feel like it's very inspiring and motivating to be around people who are doing really cool things. And I personally experienced this firsthand when I decided to invest in a business retreat at the start of 2024 that my business coach was putting on. I knew that like I wanted to kick off the year surrounded by like-minded entrepreneurs who were working on elevating their businesses, who wanted to connect with other women who own their own businesses. And it was just a complete game changer for how the year played out for me, mainly because of just like you said, like you don't know what you don't know. And then also because I got to see how other people have carved out their own unique paths. And like you don't have to follow what other people are doing. Like you can figure something out that feels good for you and will work in the long run. I'm actually going to do it again. I'm going to go back to that retreat in January. And then we are both attending a conference together in March, which is super exciting. So, Xiao Chen, in addition to that conference, what other investments have you been making recently in your business when it comes to education?
Yeah, so before I talk about my investments, here's a little bit of context in terms of where I am in my own business journey for any of you that might be interested. This is the first year where my business focus has shifted to more education than calligraphy services. And I'll be honest, it's been a bigger learning curve than I thought it would be because I have been running my courses for the last, like, I think 3 years, 3 or 4 years. And so I was like, oh, how hard could it be? But it is, like, actually an entire change in my business model from service focused to being more of an online business. And so with that and kind of the learning curve that I've experienced so far, there's 2 things that I'm investing in right now. And the first is kind of what Elaine talked about, which is investing money to be in the right rooms where I want to be because I have so much to learn in the online business and education space. It's like I can't even necessarily pinpoint like one specific skill, one specific problem. I just need to know all of the things and be a sponge and absorb it from people who are doing something that's similar to what I'm doing. And so that business retreat, I think we mentioned earlier that I went to was the next level retreat in September. And that was a small group of creative business educators, course creators, coaches, podcasters, all the things that I either do or aspire to be doing. There's also a bunch of people who speak at conferences and get paid for that. And honestly, I'm not sure if I want to do that yet, but I think it's just like, again, going back to that kind of opening your mind to the possibilities. It's great to see what the different streams of income are in this education space, right? Like I have a really good sense of what those different streams of income look like when you're a calligrapher or have a calligraphy business. But if I were to go full time with my education business, I don't have as clear of an idea of how those different income streams are going to get me full time creative educator. So then I'm also going to that creative educators conference next year with Elaine. And then I am also attending some more like Denver vendor in person events and spending some money on those because what I realized in the process of doing this is that I think I dialed back my wedding business a little too much. Like, I still want to incorporate the weddings and the creativity that comes with that and the calligraphy. I still love that aspect of my business. And what happened was those were taking up all my time. I didn't have enough time to develop the education side. But then this year, doing almost all education stuff, I realized like I actually really miss the wedding side too. Where I am is I'm just trying to strike the right balance between those things to really like build what my dream business looks like. And then the second thing that I'm investing is where I do know that I have a skill gap. I'm investing in experts. So I also don't have a ton of time right now. Like I said, I'm kind of like trying to juggle all these different things. So I would rather pay an expert than actually learn something that might take me a really long time to become an expert at. I just hired someone to help me with my SEO and blogging. And then I am doing a lot of research into someone to help me with ads right now. I've never run ads before in my business. It's all been like organic traffic or borrowed traffic, like referrals. So this isn't necessarily investing in education for myself, but I do think that these types of investments go hand in hand because if you're not investing in yourself to learn the specific, skills, then you might be investing in somebody else to do those things for you. And then the other thing is, I always believe that before you hire someone else, you should have some foundational knowledge of the skills you're outsourcing for, because then you can actually evaluate whether that person is doing a good job for you. Like, I have learned quite a bit about SEO at this point. I have actually taken a course on it, as well as some other like workshops, talk to experts, etc. We've interviewed some experts on our podcast, Kara of the Kara Report, and I've also been doing a lot of research into ads lately. So I think having a base level of education before you hire somebody else to do something for you is really important, because that way I can be clear on number one, who I'm looking for, who I want to hire, but also number two, what I want them to accomplish for me and what success would look like in working with that person.
Yeah, I love that tip because I feel like that just shows you how, investing in education and outsourcing can hand in hand play a role in helping you move your business forward. And so it's like maybe some of the free content or the courses are what is just at least giving you, like you said, that foundational knowledge. But if you know, like, I'm a wedding calligrapher and I'm not going to become an SEO expert, then it's like, okay, I want to have that base foundation so that I can understand things. And so, like, when we're starting a podcast, we can figure out how to do SEO for our podcast. But like, I'm not going to spend the time doing all of that on my own for my calligraphy business right now.
Right. And the other thing to know is, like, when you hire someone, a lot of times you're hiring them for some very specific thing versus solving everything related to SEO. So, like, using SEO as an example, that's still really good for me because I'm still handling a lot of the like metadata and optimization stuff for my websites, but the person I'm hiring specifically is helping me write blogs, right? So I
Mhm.
still have to have some of that SEO foundation. I'm still using that even though I have someone helping me, because it's hard to hire somebody who will do all of it for you. And if you do find that person, it's going to be very expensive. So really, just like, even with this ads question, there's kind of like different tiers of support. And that's just going to be dependent on like how much are you comfortable doing for yourself versus like how much you want to pay somebody to help you and what help is that you need. So I agree, these two things go hand in hand.
Yeah. And then the last tip that we want to leave you with is to budget for education. We talked about this a little bit before when we were kind of going over like the different investment levels, or, we're talking about courses, digital downloads, templates, things like that are usually a little bit lower of an investment. But if you are really looking for customized, tailored guidance, that's usually a bit higher. But the thing is, you don't ever want to feel like you are making a decision purely based on price, right? Like, you really want to feel empowered to make that decision based on the value of the course or the program or whatever the case may be, not necessarily on whether or not you can afford it right now. So, you want to be able to decide, like, is this or is this not the right investment for me based on whether or not I think it's going to take my business to the next level. So definitely, if you aren't already, start setting some money aside for your education fund, because hopefully by the end of listening to this episode, you agree that investing in education for your business is a non-negotiable. It's not really a question.
Yeah, I think this is such a great tip, especially as we go into the new year, to just like keep this in the back of your mind as you're doing some like big picture planning for your business and really thinking about all of that as a CEO of your business. I think it really helps you to make decisions based on value rather than how much is in your bank account right now. Because obviously, those financial considerations are very, very real. So it's just a matter of like budgeting for it. All right, this is the last section of our episode today, which is our recommendations for what to invest in based on how long you've been in business. So I'll kick us off. If you are just starting out with your business, like you are thinking about starting a business or your early stages in your business, I think courses are awesome because, like we said before, they help you learn specific skills step by step, and they tend to be a lower investment, which early on in your business, you're being really careful about where you put your money because you're probably not, at your full capacity of your revenue at that point. So these could be classes that help you improve your craft, like taking calligraphy classes or specific skills like engraving, bottle painting, etc., that tie into whatever services you're planning to offer. And this could also look like courses that teach you those business skills that you need as the CEO of your business. So if you are interested in working with wedding clients, I'm just going to talk a little bit here about my pro wedding calligrapher course because after helping a couple hundred students through this course, I've really seen that it helps to reduce the overwhelm that I see everyone struggle with when you're just starting your business and feeling like there's just so many things to do and not sure which ones to focus on or what order to do them in. So, in this pro wedding calligrapher course, I walk you through setting up your vision for your business, which I think a lot of people forget to do that step is actually take a step back and think about why you're doing this and what your vision is for your business. Help you figure out what you want to offer as far as services, what steps to take to make your business legit, figure out your pricing, how to market your services and get clients, and all the way through even managing those clients that you have now booked, and then keep continuing to scale from there. So it's really an incredible foundation for everything that you need to get your business started and growing with bite-sized under 20-minute video lessons. Plus, I include 14 hands-on worksheets and tools that guide you through some of the more challenging pieces like setting up your prices and figuring out your income planning and your financial plan that I mentioned before, giving you a quarterly planning roadmap, client email templates, and honestly, like so much more in this course. And then it also gives you access to that community aspect that we have been raving about. We have an engaged course community in there, and students and myself, we jump in to answer your questions and to help each other and refer job opportunities and everything. So I will put a link in the show notes to where you can see more details about the Pro Wedding Calligrapher course. But we were talking about watching some of those like free webinars and resources to get to know the educator. I also have one of those. So I will link my free masterclass so you can get your business started right away for free and you can get a sense of what I teach and how I teach through that masterclass.
So the next phase would be, you've started your business, maybe you have a year or two under your belt, but now you're looking at growing and scaling. And this could be things like you're looking to grow your revenue, you're looking to take on more clients, maybe you're looking to transition to full time, maybe you're looking to scale back on the hours that you work, things like that. So as you begin to scale, we both believe that this is where that tailored guidance and feedback becomes super impactful. Like we had mentioned, this may require a bigger investment than the courses, but at this point, you are also aiming to make more significant moves in your business, right? So like that might come with a little bit higher of a investment price tag. And so at this stage, like I said, I recommend looking at either one-on-one or group coaching. That way you can learn from somebody who has already navigated the path that you are wanting to take. Things like if you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're not sure where to go or what to do next, like being able to talk to somebody who has been there, done that, and get their roadmap is just huge in helping you kind of navigate through that a lot quicker. And then plus, in my opinion, investing also encourages you to think like a serious business owner, which I feel like that's really what you need to be embracing as you are in that like growing and scaling stage. And so I'll just talk a little bit about my program here because mine is tailored to people who are in this stage of their business. So if you are feeling like you are ready to grow your income, if you're ready to get back some time, if you're ready to boost your confidence and really taking your business to that next level, then my coaching program might be the perfect fit for you. I teased this earlier and I haven't said this anywhere yet. So podcast listeners are the first to know that I am going to be launching a brand new group program this winter. I have been working one-on-one, but it is really on my heart to create it into a group experience. And that program is going to guide you in streamlining your processes and enhancing your client experience so that your calligraphy business can truly flourish. In this program, you will gain clarity, confidence, and more time to focus on what you truly love, which is either probably creating or like maybe spending time with your kiddos and probably not in admin tasks all day. But I will drop a link to join the waitlist in the show notes because I don't believe that this will be launched by the time this episode is airing. But I will have a waitlist and I would love to chat with you about it if you are interested in learning more. So we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I'm super excited for you to build this into a group program and have more people be able to access what you are teaching.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun. It's going to be different and it's a learning curve for me now as well, but I'm pumped about it. So
So the last kind of phase that we want to talk about is in your business when you're going through any big transitions. So this could be like planning to go full time, or maybe you're pivoting your business or your services. And we think that having some one-on-one mentoring or coaching support is super beneficial here and something that you would want to invest in, because that tailored guidance is going to help you with your specific unique circumstances, how much time you have to work on your business, what services you offer, where you're trying to go, and really ensure that the strategies they provide are aligned with your specific goals. And so those insights from a coach or a mentor can save you from common pitfalls or just make you more efficient as you're working on wherever your transition is taking you. And then the accountability that comes with the mentorship, that's going to help you stay really focused and motivated, especially when you're doing something new. Like Elaine and I both have, these big growing curves and growing pains this year. Having somebody there for you as a coach can really help when there's like doubts or obstacles or the times where you just like want to give up on it. Like you're going to have someone who can like talk you off the ledge. So I actually just launched a one-on-one mentoring program, and the majority of my mentees in the program are now looking to go full-time with their businesses or expand their service offerings so they can make more money in their businesses. And it's been such a fun full circle moment for me too, because a lot of these students were people that I worked with a couple years ago when they were first starting their business, and they joined my pro wedding calligrapher course. And now I'm getting to work with them in a different capacity, again, as they're making these big moves or looking to go full time. And I get to really, really understand their businesses on a very personal level. So just as a heads up, when you're part of the Pro Wedding Calligrapher course, you also have the access to add on my one-on-one mentoring program as well for that next level of support if you need it.
That would be me if I were in your course. I'd be like, yes, add. I need accountability. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you can't tell by now, we love investing in education for our businesses, and we both truly believe it's one of the more powerful things that you can do. Honestly, not just for your business, but also just for yourself. Like, this is also about personal development and growth just as much as it is about business development and growth. And like I said earlier, like, I truly believe that if you are wanting to have a, successful business, and whatever that means for you, whatever successful means for you, I do think that education is a non-negotiable. And I just think that it is going to help you show up even better than before. So as we wrap up, we hope that you've gained valuable insights into the importance of investing in education for your business, because at the end of the day, it's really not just about gaining knowledge. It's also about community, accountability, and mentorship that comes along with it.
And we would love to see you in either of our courses and programs, of course. If you are early on in your business, you're looking to build or grow your wedding calligraphy business and want a roadmap for how to do so, I'm inviting you to join my masterclass, 3 Steps to Booking Your Dream Wedding Clients, and I will be sure to link that in the show notes.
Yeah. And then if you are excited about taking the next step in creating a scalable and sustainable calligraphy business, then I would love to invite you to join the waitlist for my group mentoring program, which is hopefully enrolling later this winter. We'll see.
And if you want some more free education through our podcast, make sure that you are following or subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast. And you can also shoot us a DM if you have any questions over at Calligraphy Biz Corner. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to our show. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us wherever you're listening and leave us a quick rating.
And don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at Calligraphy Biz Corner and send us a DM to let us know how you're liking the show. Until next time, keep the ink flowing and the dreams growing.